Let's see how well this works. We'll see how well this works. We'll see how well this works. Okay, so it should be live. So far green. I'm probably going to get a notification soon about it being live. We good? Oh, yep, here we go. It says I'm live. Let's copy the link. And yeah, Word. Oh, that's kind of small. That text is kind of small. Maybe I'll try and figure out how to make it bigger. Testing a stream setup right now. Come join to watch the greatest video of all time with me. Nah, I'm just testing the setup for like an hour, half an hour, whatever. That chat text is very small. Is there a way to make it bigger? Let's see. Is there a way to make it? Oh, maybe. Let's try that, and we'll see what happens. Oh. No, that didn't work. All right. I'm gonna have to look into making that font bigger somehow. So that just sort of increased the spacing without actually making it bigger. Let's see. There we go. Let's fix that, I guess. All right. Anyway, let's start watching the video, and we can figure out the commentary things.
In this video, I'll be explaining exactly what I do to collect Watch for Rolling Rocks in 0.5 A presses. But first, we need to clear something up.
I might be able to make the
a half A press video, I get the same comments over and over asking what it means, even though I always have a whole paragraph in the description explaining it, which even starts with, if you're wondering what a half A press is, read this before commenting to ask. But maybe what you guys need isn't
My streaming system is frozen.
Maybe you guys need an example. So,
OBS.
consider Wing
Please
Mario
work.
over the rainbow. Not even the whole star.
OBS,
Just consider getting to that cannon platform,
it's the only
which
application
is a
open.
necessary part of getting the star. So, how many A presses does it take to get there? Well, if you say 0, that's wrong, because then Mario can't go far enough. If you say 1, well, it's true that Mario can get there with 1, but we can do a little better. We can do it in half an A press. To do that, we start the level already holding A, and then we use that A press to reach the platform. Now, hold on. I know what you're thinking. An A press is an A press. You can't say it's only a half. Well, TJ, Henry, Yoshi,
when I make it.
An A press actually has 3 parts to it. When A is pressed, when A is held,
By the way, let me know how the audio is.
And together, this forms one complete A press. Now, usually it's the pressing that's useful, because that's the only part that makes Mario jump. However, Sometimes it's sufficient to just use the holding part, which allows Mario to do little kicks, to swim in water, to fall slowly while twirling, and to fall slowly with the wing cap. And as for the release, well, there's currently no cases where that's useful or important, so don't worry
I
about
wouldn't say
that
putting it
part.
on blast. This is a
Now,
very
if
good
we
video.
map out the required A presses for Wing Mario over the rainbow, it would look like this. We merely need to
Alright, so
hold A
let's...
to reach the cannon platform, we need to
Unless you're
press
talking
A to
about
launch
the
from the
chat.
first cannon, and we need to press A again to launch from the second cannon. So, how many A presses is that total? Well,
Oh, right.
it appears to be 3. And if we were doing
Oh
this
yeah.
star in
Yeah,
isolation,
the
then
video
yeah, it would be 3.
on its own
But
does have
in a full
a
game 8
weird
button
mix.
challenge run, there are other A presses that occur earlier in the run,
Oh.
such as this A press needed
No,
to get into the course.
that doesn't work.
So, if we take that A press into consideration as well, then how many A presses would it take? The naive answer would be 4, 1 to enter the course, and the 3 within the course that we established earlier. However, we can do better. We can actually do it in 3 by simply holding out the first A press to be used for the half A press, because the half A press only requires
I guess it's gonna be small unless I figure out how to change the CSS.
So in this fashion, Wing Mario over the rainbow only adds on an additional 2 A presses to the run, since the first A press just leeches off of a previous A press. So to capture this phenomenon, we call it 2.5 A presses. On a single star basis, you'd round that up to 3, but in a full game run, you'd round it down to 2. So, in conclusion,
I'm not sure what that's
since
referring
the first
to.
A press counts in some contexts, but adds no additional A presses in other contexts, we refer to it as a half A press. So, going back to the video, you can see that I start the level with the A button already held, as indicated in the bottom left corner. On the full game run, this A press will just leech off of a previous one, and so it won't incur an additional A press. Okay, glad that's explained. Now, what am I doing in the video? Here, I'm using a trick called Scuttlebug Transportation. You see,
honestly,
like
it might not be worth it to have the chat in the video,
which is just a point in 3D
like it feels like it makes the
control a certain radius around that point.
the running of
so, if Mario enters that radius, they'll lunge at him to attack. But unlike most other enemies, the Scuttlebug's home can change positions, because if a Scuttlebug bumps into Mario, the Scuttlebug's home will update to where the Scuttlebug was when the collision occurred. So, by strategically luring the Scuttlebug to the edge of its radius and bumping into it, we can effectively transport the Scuttlebug and its home. So,
I feel like the system just runs way worse with if I have both the YouTube.
They actually get
I have
stuck
both
at the
the
door.
YouTube chat and
if your dream was
the
to bring all the Scuttlebugs together for one big jamboree,
and the video playing. I feel like it just makes my OBS run really bad. Although, how are the frames looking? Like how does the footage look?
It's pretty weird if you've never seen it before,
like I have my settings like turned way down with the idea that OBS will work, you know, better. It doesn't seem to be dropping frames. It doesn't seem to have dropped any of them. So
here's how it works. On the left, I show a bird's eye view of the scene, and on the right, I show a view from the side.
So yeah.
Now, when Mario leaves the Rolling Rocks room, the Scuttlebug deactivates. That's because the room and everything in it are only active when Mario's in the room, or standing in a small region right outside the door, indicated here in yellow. So, if Mario isn't in the Rolling Rocks room
I suppose I'll probably
the room will be
want to test with Sakurai's like
Terry
Terry Direct just to make sure there's nothing that I'm blocking with any of these things. I'm pretty sure. Like sometimes there's text at the bottom, but I'm pretty sure my image doesn't block it.
Move around, it can still turn towards Mario and activate a lunge. Then Mario leaves the radius and the Scuttlebug turns to facing its home. Next, Mario enters the yellow region to activate the Scuttlebug.
Say what you will about this video, but it kind of like sparked a revolution in. It kind of like sparked a revolution in like these challenge runs. Like there's like before this, I don't think I ever saw like no jump runs or like a no capture run of Mario Odyssey.
Now we've gotten all the
or like
out of the Scuttlebug's current lunge.
just whatever like specific challenge runs of like a video game.
Activate a lunge while the Scuttlebug is deactivated, reactivate the Scuttlebug just for the upwards portion of its trajectory, and then repeat. As simple as that. So that's what I do here, and I have a second screen to show it from the Scuttlebug's perspective. Fortunately, the
really
Scuttlebug's
like
radius isn't a
this
sphere, but a
this this
cylinder
this
that
this
extends
one thing
up and
has
down
just so much
infinitely.
setup to
So
just not.
really, no matter how high the
Yeah, it's just
Scuttlebug
so you
gets,
can do
we
this
can
while
continue
holding
to
the A
enter
button
its
the
area
entire
to
time.
activate its lunges and
And
move it
like the funny
upwards.
part is that
There's
the
no
A
limit
button
to how
is
high
only
we can
required
raise
for
it.
this one little
Now,
bit at
it's
the
worth
end.
noting that I only activate the Scuttlebug while I'm not inside its radius, so the Scuttlebug will always lunge towards its home and not towards Mario. This causes the Scuttlebug to effectively travel straight up above its home.
Anyway,
But alternatively,
it's
I
kind of
could have
kind of
activated
annoying
the
because
Scuttlebug while inside of its radius, and in that case, the Scuttlebug would always
my
lunge towards
headphones are
Mario
always
instead
at
of
the
towards its
same
home.
volume.
So it would actually make its way towards the door and then
Regardless,
travel straight up from there. That method's actually a little faster because we
like
wouldn't have to
I
wait for the Scuttlebug to turn back towards its home before its activation. However, it wouldn't work for what we're doing
like I
because
can't.
we need the Scuttlebug to be
It's
right
annoying that
next
I
to that
can't lower
corner.
the
In
volume that I
fact,
hear.
the top of
I
that
can only
corner
lower
has
the
a
volume
special
that you hear
property which we call a
because of how
misalignment. Basically,
OBS
in the
works.
game's code, there's a discrepancy between the way the game handles collision checking with floors versus walls. This results in a 1x1 unit area where Mario can get under the floor without being pushed away by the walls. And if Mario's less than 79 units under a floor, he'll snap right up onto it. So that'll be important later for getting up there. Anyway, now it's time to build up some speed. And I mean
Alright,
a lot of speed.
time to build up some
So to get
speed.
that speed,
Okay,
we're
here we
going to
go.
use a trick called hyperspeed walking.
Alright,
And here's how it works.
here we go.
You probably already know that there are some slopes in the game that are too steep to stand on. Mario just slides off of them. But did you know that you actually can stand on these slopes if they're submerged in shallow water? In fact,
Okay.
the underwater portion of these slopes has a special property. If you try running uphill on them, you'll end up running backwards at an increasing speed with no upper bound. But in most
Infinitely
circumstances,
increasing
this
speed.
would cause us to end up in the water before building up any real speed. We can get a little more speed by running nearly parallel to the slope, but ever so slightly uphill. But eventually the slope runs out, or we move too fast to
Eventually the
round the
slope runs
corner.
out, so-
But there are some ways to have Mario walk while staying in place. For example, if there's a wall perpendicular to the slope, then we can use that. That allows Mario to build up quite a bit of speed before
Until
he
you clip
breaks
through the
However,
wall.
if the wall isn't perpendicular to the slope, then we end up sliding down into the water. That's because walls
You
are
don't-
really
you
just
don't want that.
rectangles that
You
push
don't wanna
Mario
slide-
out
you don't wanna slide down into the
perpendicularly.
water.
So, if Mario moves into a wall at an angle, the game will calculate his intended next position, then the wall will push that position out, and then Mario ends up having a net movement along the wall. So ultimately, he'll end up moving into the water. So, is all hope
I love
lost?
that little
Well, no,
splash
because Tyler
PNG.
Caney figured out that we can actually make use of the gate. You see,
That
the
thing-
bottom of
the,
the gate is a ceiling,
yeah,
and
the
game
icon
doesn't
of that
like
guy
putting Mario too close
brought
to
up
the
who figured
area
out this
right
trick.
under a ceiling because it doesn't
Great.
think he fits.
It's
So,
such a good
if we
video.
have Mario move backwards
well
into
made.
the ceiling, the game will choose not to move him, so we're free to build up speed in place. But not infinite speed, because we'd end up breaking
build up
free
infinite
if
speed
our
this way,
speed
though.
moved past the gate.
It's fine.
So what do? We turn to redirect our speed out of bounds. Notice that we now
Oh,
have
you're
enough speed
oh
so
you
that our
you think
intended
that's
next
dumb?
position
You
is
think
past
you
the
think
wall
that's
and
silly?
out of
Mario just
bounds.
phasing through the
And
wall
since
at
the
crazy
game
high
doesn't
speed,
like placing Mario
like
out of bounds,
like
it doesn't
a
move
speed
him,
of 500
and
or whatever
instead
the
just
game's
lets him
units
stay
are.
in place,
You
just
you
like
have
the
not seen
ceiling.
anything
But
yet.
unlike the ceiling, out of bounds goes on forever, so
Because-
we can essentially build up as much speed as we
So
want
like
without having to
once he
worry
makes
about
it so
breaking
that you
free.
don't
So
clip
now
through
I
the
do
wall.
just that. Open the gate, use the ceiling of the gate
Like
to build up some
he's using the
speed,
ceiling.
and then redirect my
He's
angle
he's
out of
redirecting
bounds
the
to build
angle.
up the
So
rest.
he's making
Now,
it so
you're
that
probably
you can't.
wondering what I'm gonna need all this
He's
speed
making it
for.
so that you won't
After
clip
all,
through the
I
wall.
do build up speed for 12 hours, but
I
to
do
answer
build
that,
up speed
we
for
need to
12
talk about
hours.
parallel universes. And if you thought my other tangents were complicated,
first,
just you wait.
we need to talk
Okay,
about parallel
so Mario's
universe.
position is a floating point number, but
So-
it's converted to a short when the game uses it
Yeah.
to test for collision with floor
Mario
traffic.
isn't going
In
to
other words,
tunnel through a wall
Mario's position
by
can
traveling at
basically
super
be
high
any
speed. He's
decimal
going to
number,
tunnel through
but
the
it's
universe.
converted to an integer
He's going to
between
travel
negative
so fast that he
32,768
travels to a
and
parallel
positive
universe.
32,767 inclusive. So, any fractional portion is truncated, and numbers too big or too small are moved into this range using the modulo operator. Graphically, that means that the position used for floor detection is always inside of this box. So if Mario's in that box, then his actual
Yeah.
position
I'm not.
and the position
Any
used
percent
for
runs
floor
of
detection are the
Mario
same,
64 are so
albeit maybe off
optimized.
by a single
They use so
fraction
many
due to the
tricks
truncation.
about
But if Mario leaves that box, then his
You
actual
know,
position and the
hey,
position
I've
used for
never done
floor
a speed run
detection
of
will
any game. I
separate,
probably
since
should.
the position used for
I
floor
probably could
detection will
learn.
just loop back around to remain in the original box. So now I ask you this. Here's the course. So if Mario is standing way over here where
Well,
there's no
you were
land,
misled.
but the position used for floor detection is on land, can he stand over here? The answer
This is
is
the greatest
yes.
video of
As
all
far as
time,
the
you
game
know.
sees
And
it,
also, I'm testing
Mario
the
is
setup
in fact
for
above land
potentially
over here
for
because the
streaming
game
the
actually checks for land over
Smash Direct
here.
tomorrow.
So, for all intents and purposes,
Making sure
there
everything's
is
working. You
essentially
know, all
land
the
over
audio is
here,
working. The
a
frames aren't
copy of
mashed
the
up.
original
So
map.
far, there is
And this
zero
is what we
mashed
call
frame,
a parallel
zero dropped
universe,
frames, which
or a
is
PU.
surprising.
And this
I mean, I
applies
have
to
like
every one of
everything
these
closed, but
boxes,
still.
so there's actually a grid of nearly infinite PUs. Here is a to-scale diagram of the
Good
PU
morning.
grid. As you can see, the PUs are actually pretty far apart, but I'll be taking some creative liberties and drawing them closer together for the sake of clearer visuals. Now, PUs aren't as glamorous as you might think. The
Not as
graphics are only
glamorous as
found
you
on
might
the
think.
original map, so the PUs are completely invisible. Furthermore, PUs have no objects, like elevators or item blocks, no enemies, no items, like coins or stars, and not even any walls. So really, it's pretty barren. Furthermore, the N64 console will actually
Wait.
crash if you go to a PU and
How's the
let the
name supposed
camera
to be
follow you.
pronounced if it's
But
not Edo
luckily,
or
we
Edo?
can avoid that crash by fixing the camera in place on the original map before leaving it, though that does make it even harder to tell what's going on in the PUs. So, as you just saw, you can travel to a PU if you have enough speed, but it's not as simple as you might think. If you have just enough speed to reach the PU one over, it won't actually work. That's because the game actually checks if Mario is above land at each quarter step of his movement. That means the simplest
Oh,
PU
okay.
movement is
So it's
moving
like
over 4
it's like
PUs
Edo.
at
So it's
once.
like the
That way, each quarter step is above land
it's how
and
you
therefore
pronounce
valid.
the
For
like
simplicity,
period,
we call
like
this quadruple
the
PU
period of
distance
Japan. I
1
think that's how you
QPU.
pronounce it.
Now, up until this point, I've been glossing over a very important detail, which I now need to clear up. What if I told you the distance Mario moves isn't necessarily
I told you the
equal to his
distance Mario
speed?
moves
For
isn't
example,
necessarily
look how
equal to his
fast
speed.
Mario moves at 31 speed on this flat slope, and now compare it to how fast he moves at the same speed on this steeper slope. In both cases, he has about the same speed, but clearly he's moving at different rates. That's because the distance Mario moves is only a
I
portion of
thought
his
y'all meant it
actual
was
speed,
pronounced like
and this portion
pedo or
depends on the
something,
slope of the
and
ground.
like there
The
was just
steeper
an
the slope,
invisible
the
H.
smaller this portion is. Note that it only depends on the steepness, not whether Mario's facing uphill, downhill, or sideways on the hill. In these visuals, blue will represent Mario's actual speed, and green will represent the portion of it that he moves, which we call Mario's de facto speed. So in these three pictures, Mario has the same speed, but he has different de facto speeds since he's standing on slopes with different steepnesses. So, if we want to move one QPU, it's not sufficient to have QPU speed. We need QPU de facto speed, which often means our actual speed will need to be greater than 1 QPU to compensate. So to reiterate, we need to increase our speed until our de facto speed syncs up with 1 QPU, and the speed needed to do this is called the sinking speed. So in this diagram, the blue arrow represents the sinking speed. When we have that speed, the quarter steps of the de facto speed sync up with the PUs, and we can move. Now, what I'm showing here is just the lowest, or first sinking speed, aka
We just
the
have
speed to move exactly 1 QPU.
I mean, like,
if we increase our speed,
yeah,
eventually
I
our
mean,
de
we have
facto
like
speed would sync
combinations
up
of
again
letters
when
that
it
like
covers a distance of
make
2
different
QPU,
sounds, which
and
is
so we'd be able
a
to
whole
move
other
at that
thing.
speed, which is 2 times as
Not
fast
every
as
language
before.
has that.
So in general,
Like
any multiple of the lowest
SH
sinking
is its own
speed is
thing,
itself a sinking speed, and will
and
cover multiple QPU at once. So
and
remember,
also
every
like
slope has a different set
like
of
how
sinking
WH is
speeds,
just
and
pronounced
this
as
can make
like
rounding
H.
tricky. For example,
Like in
in the
Japanese
video
that
where I do
you
PU
wouldn't like
movement
have
to
that
reach the secret aquarium, I had to traverse several different slopes. First, this
or
slope
whatever,
that I
you
used
know,
for
like a language
hyperspeed
that has
walking,
like more
then
consistent
this slope
letters.
at the edge of the water, then the flat ground of the castle foyer, then the
I
castle
never really
stairs,
understood
which
this
is
part of the
really a
video.
steep
How does he
ramp,
get out of
and
the
then the flat ground of the upstairs. And note that the
his
stairs you
plan
see
for the
there are
hyperspeed
actual stairs and not a ramp,
walking thing?
so they're
How
just flat
how
ground.
does he get out of
Here
the
is a graph showing the sinking
how
speeds
does he
for
get
each
out
of
of the
these
level
slopes, and so
while
these are the speeds
keeping
I
his
need
speed?
in order to have
Is
PU
does
movement
that
while
work?
standing on each of these slopes. Naturally, the steeper slopes have greater sinking
Oh well.
speeds. Now, keep in mind that I can only build up speed while I'm on the hyperspeed walking slope. Once I leave it, I can't generate any more speed, so my speed will only decrease from there. So to successfully perform this PU route,
Yeah,
I better have
I guess
generated
I
enough
guess he
speed
like
to meet each
collects a
slope's
star and
sinking
then leaves
speed
the
in
level,
turn.
and
For
that's how
example,
this sort of
let's
run
say I
would work.
build up enough speed to reach the first possible sinking speed, and I use that to go to the next slope. Then I could let my speed drop until I reach this slope's sinking speed, go to the next slope, let my speed drop again until I reach this slope's sinking speed, go to the next slope, but then I have a bit of a problem. I have less than the required sinking speed and no way to gain any more. So is
Ah,
this route
walks
just
through the world in the.
impossible? Well, no,
Well,
because
yeah, but
these are
like,
just these slopes' first
it's
sinking
it's
speeds.
not
But
like
remember, any
it's
multiple of these
but
will
like
work as
he's
well. So
leaving the
now
world
let's
is the
factor in
thing.
each slope's second
Like
sinking
he
speed
walks
as
into the
well.
world. Yeah,
These
yeah.
speeds
Like
allow
it's got to
Mario
be
to
like
move two
it's got to be like
QPU at once
these
instead
first
of
two
one.
like lead you
So
directly to
now
a
if I
star, which
instead build up enough
which he
speed to
uses to
reach
get
the
out.
second sinking speed of that
Like an
first
easy
slope,
star to get, and then
then
he
I'll
like
actually
gets
have
out,
enough speed to meet each sinking speed in
and then he
turn
like
and
gets to the
complete the
other
route.
parts.
And if that didn't work, we could have considered each slope's third sinking speed and so on until we did get it to work. However, which sinking speed we need to reach initially is kind of a big deal,
Edo,
because
Edo
reaching that
Itachi,
first sinking speed takes
reanimating
about
Itachi.
12 hours, and reaching that second sinking speed takes about 25 hours. So if there's a
Okay.
way to use a lower sinking
I don't know.
speed
I don't know what's
initially,
that's
then
in
that's a
reference to. Is it
12-hour
like
save.
Naruto?
So, how much speed will we need to generate for the Watch for Rolling Rock Star? Well, keep in mind that even with access to unlimited horizontal speed, we don't have any improved vertical mobility. So to get to the top of the course, we need to travel up slopes and ride up elevators. So this will be the basic route.
Yeah.
Start on the hyperspeed walking slope,
I don't watch
navigate along
Naruto.
the path
I've
up
only
from
ever
the
seen
lake,
one
ride up this
episode of
elevator,
Naruto as a
ride
kid,
up this other elevator, make our way
so
onto the
I don't really
amazing
know anything
emergency
about it.
exit platform, which is the highest point we can reach, and then launch to the Watch for Rolling Rocks platform. By itself, that still won't be enough height, but the scuttlebug we positioned will provide the extra bounce we need. So this is the graph of the sinking speeds of these slopes. Unfortunately, we run into a bit of an issue with the path up from the lake. That area is actually made up of dozens of floor triangles that each have different slopes.
Dozens of floor
But that
triangles.
didn't stop
How
me.
are we gonna
After
find out which
careful
ones to use?
observation and scrutiny, I isolated 6 triangles, which I named T1 through T6. These triangles have strictly decreasing steepnesses, so
Yeah.
we can meet each of their sinking speeds in turn. Additionally, their heights span the entire vertical distance we need to
Indeed.
cover to go from bottom to top, without leaving any gaps in between. So, by using the slopes of those 6 triangles, we can
Oh.
complete the blueprint for
Yeah,
our route, allowing us
I
to
know you were
utilize the
Naruto League, but I
first
just
sinking
didn't know that
speed
was
of
what your
that
name was
initial
referencing.
slope, so building up speed only takes 12 hours instead of 25. Now, we're almost ready to go back to the video, but
Thank
there's just
goodness,
some
it's
final
12 hours
points I
instead
want
of
to make.
25.
For example, you don't need to have exactly the sinking speed to traverse PUs. If you have slightly less than the sinking speed, you'll move relatively forwards in the map. If you have slightly more than the sinking speed, you'll move relatively backwards in the map. And the further you deviate from the sinking speed, the greater this relative movement will be. Additionally, if you adjust your angle slightly away from the cardinal direction, you can move relatively sideways. But keep in mind that even the smallest possible angle deviation will be magnified over the QPU distance, and thus, Mario will be sent multiple feet to the side. Now, based off what I've told you, you might think you can only travel multiples of 4 PUs at a time, but that's not actually true. For example, if one of your quarter steps is out of bounds or over a ceiling, then
no.
that quarter step will be invalid.
Yeah.
And since Mario
Invalid,
moves
so
up
you have-
to but
you have
not
to go to
including the first invalid quarter step, he can in fact end up stopping prematurely at one of the quarter steps.
The thing is,
Separately,
you don't
if
want to be
change
trapped in a
slopes during a
misalignment.
quarter step, your de facto speed will change and you'll alter the distance of the next quarter step, and so most likely it will no longer sync up with a PU and you'll end up stopping on the new slope. Finally, for simplicity, the set of PUs that are multiples of 4 away we call the QPU grid, and if Mario's on the QPU grid, then we say he's QPU aligned. Remember, moving a multiple of 4 PUs is easy, but moving a different amount requires special conditions like out of bounds or changing slopes. So, if you're QPU aligned, it's easy to stay that way.
Well,
And if
I
you're
mean, as
QPU
easy as it is
misaligned,
to
it's easy to stay that way as
calculate your
well.
speed
Now,
precisely
if you
and
become QPU
and
misaligned, you'll need to
and
correct
keep it
that in
like
order to return to the main map.
keep everything
But that can be difficult
stationary
if you're not near out of bounds and
and
your
like
sequence of slope changes
build
is
up speed for
predetermined.
12 hours and all
So,
that stuff.
managing your QPU alignment is one of the many challenges of planning a PU route. Okay, so now
Keeping
we're finally ready to
keeping
resume
your
the main
CPU
video and
alignment is
watch
one of
the
the many
PU
challenges.
movement. Just kidding. First, I need to explain what these screens
This
are.
screen.
These extra screens will help you follow along during the PU
Oh.
movement. The standard view is just the view that the game shows, but since I
It's
fixed the
standard.
camera on the main map to prevent the game from crashing,
Oh yeah,
this screen won't tell you very much.
Pan
The
and Coke is a
relative view
national
shows
treasure.
where I am in each PU. This
Pan
is
and
what it would
Coke
look
is
like if I let
amazing.
the camera follow Mario around and the PU track
I'm not
invisible.
even talking
The
about this
relative
video
map
like an
also
ironic,
shows
like
where I am in
it's
each
oh,
PU,
it's a bad
from an
video.
overhead perspective.
It's so
And
overcomplicated.
finally, the PU
It's a
map
really
shows where I
well-made
am in
video
the
that like
PU grid.
explains these
Okay,
concepts.
so now
It's
let's really
just
start.
so
So,
complicated.
as I explained earlier, I navigate up the path from the lake using the 6 triangles I
Alright,
isolated, and I've
so
marked them in the relative map so you can follow along. So basically, I get onto a triangle, let my speed drop until I'm around the sinking speed for that triangle slope, then navigate uphill on the triangle, and then move to the next triangle. Using what I taught you, you should be able to follow along with my movement. For example, I'm able to move relatively backwards because I have slightly more than the sinking speed. Whenever I move sideways, it's because I'm slightly angled away from the cardinal direction. And every time I move from triangle to triangle, my QPU alignment changes. But cleverly, I planned it in such a way that they'd all cancel out by the end and I'd end up QPU aligned. So right now, I'm on the 6th triangle, so I do a little zigzag to bring me back towards the main map, as you can see on the PU map screen. Remember,
yeah.
I need to return to the main map in order to access the elevator,
I minored in
since
math
there
in
are no
undergrad.
objects in PUs. As you may have noticed right there, the elevator didn't register me until I started kicking, and that's actually the reason why I've been holding A this
This is
entire
the only
time.
reason he
By
needs the
holding
A button for this
I can
level.
press B to do these little kicks. Without these kicks, I go
Yeah, I
through
minored
the
in math
elevator,
and this is
but
too much
with the
math.
kicks, I can ride it up to gain precious height. Okay, so now we're closing in on the end. The final movement I do will be a kick onto the amazing emergency exit platform, then turn and launch myself towards the scuttlebug. That movement will bring me 10 PU to the right and 3 PU down, but since I want to end up on the main map, I reverse that displacement and so position myself 3 PU up and 10 PU left. While doing that, I simultaneously position myself in the correct relative part of the map to make the movement work. Okay, now don't blink.
Here we go.
And there we go. By bouncing on the scuttlebug
Had to
and
bounce on the
ground pounding
scuttlebug
in
to
misalignment,
get it.
I achieved just enough height to get onto the Rolling Rocks platform. Here, I show an abridged version of the scuttlebug raising.
That's the
in
only
case
one,
Arthur's viewing was too choppy
because
to
nowhere
follow.
else in the level
As
is
you can
high enough, I
see,
guess,
the
that you can
scuttlebug
reach.
moves back and forth above its home. At the end, you can see I do 2 special raisings purely to move him sideways and closer to the
Just
corner,
love the
since he ended
visuals,
up being
the
too far
scuttlebug
away for the
raising.
bounce to work. And here, I show an alternate angle of the final PU movement. The scuttlebug actually became active once I entered the PU version of this room.
I like
so
the
I
fact
really
that he
only had
manages
a
to like
handful of
recreate
frames to
like
get
these
over here
moves, which
before he fell
strictly
too
speaking
far.
shouldn't be
And
visible.
there you have it. Watch for Rolling Rocks done in 0.5
Like it's just so well
presses.
made.
Man, I did not expect this video to become 25 minutes long when I started commentating.
Neither
but
did I,
guess there was
buddy.
just that
Neither
much
did
to
I.
explain. Hopefully, you were able to follow along with my explanations and visuals, learn something new, and had an enjoyable experience.
I did.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching.
Thank you for making that video. Oh no, it's gonna autoplay something dumb. Okay. So yeah, so that's the hey, come on, properties. So that's the so that was the video I want to show. It's been 4 years, just over 4 years since that video came out. Like a week ago is the 4th anniversary or something.
Do you love boating?
Oh.
Do you want a hassle-free
Okay.
boating experience?
Cool.
You need to check out Freedom Boat Club.
All right.
Freedom Boat
Cool.
Club is your affordable alternative to boat ownership. Here's how it works.
Freedom Boat Club. Okay. Anyway, so I'm just checking to make sure it being live doesn't change anything. Hi. What is it? Okay. It's hard for me to copy the link to my hard for me to copy the link to watch it on stream right now. But anyway, I don't think the fact that it's live is ruining my internet any, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be any dropped frames. Doesn't seem to be anything. No, I really can't access anything on my computer right now. I have literally everything closed. like in order for this to work and not have the frames all be mashed up. So I'll look at it later. So this being live seems to be working. The audio seems to be fine. Doesn't seem to be any buffering. So despite me also live streaming. So yeah, it seems to be good. I think we're good for tomorrow. I mean, we'll probably have to change the audio settings so that it can probably have to change the audio settings because it'll like probably be too quiet or too loud because the video will be different. The trailer will be a different volume from everything else. But like besides that, everything is good. Basically this time Eastern, not 9 a.m. Eastern, which is why I came in at this time to kind of see who was online around this time. But no, yeah. So it's not 8 a.m. It's not 9 a.m. It's 6 a.m. Pacific time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. Yep. See, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 7 Mountain, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Yep. I hope to see y'all here reacting with me. We're gonna get that we're gonna get those clicks. Get those get that clout from having a live reaction up on YouTube. So yeah, see y'all tomorrow. 23 hours. So bye.